Over the past 2 years, you guys have watched us build our tiny home gym, our shed over here, our new paver patio, our kitchen over here, but I gotta show you a dirty little secret we've been hiding, and it's this space. It's terrible.
This part of the yard has really become a junkyard over the past couple years. We really just throw all of our crap here and just let it sit there, so it's time to fix this up. The plan's gonna be to level out this hill right here and put a shed on top of it that's 8 feet wide, then add a paver path walkway right here that has built-in LEDs. So we're gonna take all of our junk and put it on another part of our yard, so there's more junk somewhere else.
Iron Man?
No, you know that guy with the little things and he like does...
Wolverine?
No. What's his name? The guy that snaps his fingers and then the world ends? What's his name? Theranos.
I don't know about that one.
You don't know who Theranos is? I'm gonna snap my fingers and all the stuff's gonna be gone.
Inevitable.
Thanks to good old editing, the yard magically cleaned itself. Next, we hit up the hardware store so we can pick up some supplies. Let's get to work. We used a metal rake to get rid of some of the grass and weeds, then used a tape measure and some good old-fashioned spray paint so we can mark the ground so we know exactly where to dig. We basically need to flatten this area out, but since the ground slopes down toward the fence, we don't want the dirt to be pressed against the fence and rotted out over time, so we're basically building a small retention wall. To glue the blocks together, we're using this construction adhesive that's made for masonry, making sure everything's level and just repeating the same process over and over until they're all installed. Now that the cinder blocks are installed, we're gonna put some of this rebar around the whole thing, so then we can go ahead and add some cement, concrete. I don't know what it's called, but let's do it. We mix together some of this high-strength concrete to hopefully keep these cinder blocks together for the long run.
Now we have to fill this entire space up with rocks, and we have 1,800 pounds of it, so this is not going to be fun.
This was a workout, but luckily we didn't have to go into the store and get it in person. We ended up getting it delivered from Lowe's, and it was only like 30 bucks. We poured wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow into what seemed to be a never-ending pit. We also filled it with a bunch of broken pavers that we had laying around from a previous project, which in turn helped us get rid of some of the junk that we had laying around. After filling up the endless pit, we compressed all the rocks with this tamper. We're adding these pavers on top of our platform because this is what our shed is going to live on top of. We made sure they were all level with each other, then started cutting down some pressure treated 2x6s so we can start building the frame for our shed. We put screws and nails into the frame, then carried it into the backyard so we can set it on top of the pavers. We finally finished building out the platform. Now we're gonna try and frame out all the walls by the end of the day because we're expecting rain in a couple of days and we really just want to finish this up before it comes. We cut out all the 2x4s that we needed so we can start framing the walls. We started by building out the back wall first because it's going to be pushed up against the fence and we won't be able to access it once it's fully installed. So we went ahead and installed the siding and painted it completely before we put it onto the platform. We used exterior paint and it pretty much dried instantly because when we did this it was about 110 degrees out, which was super fun to do. I'm kidding. I'll probably never do a project like this in the middle of August again. But after adding 2 layers, we brought it over to the platform and got it installed. We then repeated the same process with the sidewall because it's going to be pushed up against the fence, then brought it over to the platform and screwed everything together. The other framed walls don't get the same kind of siding because we're planning on installing a different kind of siding to make it look a little nicer because this is the side that's going to be seen the most. We added a double top plate to lock the walls together, then made the measurements so we can cut out our rafters. This was an intimidating process to do, but after a few measurements, we got it figured out, cut out our bird mouths, and went ahead and installed all of our rafters. We spaced them apart 16 on center, and it only ended up taking us about 45 minutes to get them all installed. After installing the rafters, we added some metal hangers to each one. We then got onto the roof and installed some blocking on the sides so there can be some overhang. This was sketchy, but thankfully I got everything screwed into place so I can move on to the next step of the project. It was officially time to install the roof. So we cut down a bunch of pieces of 1/2-inch OSB and brought them onto the roof one by one. Since there was multiple pieces, I made sure to stagger them to help make the shed more rigid. We had to install drip edge before installing the actual shingles, and I'll be the first to admit that I'm not very good at installing drip edge. I'm sure I'm missing a couple tools in order to do this, but I only install drip edge about once a year, so that's probably the reason why I'm not too good. After the drip edge, we roll down this layer of ice and water shield. This stuff basically waterproofs the roof before the shingles go on to make sure there's no leaks. Shingles are heavy. I can't imagine having to carry hundreds of shingles onto a roof for a living. Luckily for me, it only took 2 packs. I laid the first shingle in the bottom right corner and popped 5 nails into it. I then cut the next shingle a little smaller, laid it over the first one, and continued that process, making a stair-step pattern. I didn't use a nail gun because the roof is so small, but Cooper was down at the bottom trying to figure out where all the noise was coming from. After the shingles were installed, we used one of these curved blades to cut off the excess. I'll link it in the description below along with a bunch of other products that we've used. The next day, we cut down some more OSB so we can start adding the sheathing to the sides. I screwed the panels in every 10 inches or so, then basically just repeated the same process over and over until all the panels were completely installed. It's time to install the soffit, and we want it to be black, but they didn't have any black F channels at the store. They only had them in white, so we picked up some black spray paint and we're gonna get them painted up. After painting them and letting them dry, we went ahead and installed them on the perimeter of the entire tiny home. I mean shed. I then cut down a bunch of pieces of this black perforated soffit, which came black so we didn't have to spray paint it. They basically slide into this F channel, then you nail the other side and continue that same process over and over until you have this beautiful looking soffit. After a long day of doing this, it was completely installed and it was time to install the fascia. I was only able to find fascia cap that was made for 2x6s, so I had to cut it down. I found this automatic tin snip cutter which connects directly to your drill. It made life a lot easier. I'll go ahead and link it in the description below as well. We then hammered on the fascia cap, and I gotta admit, it turned out pretty damn nice. The shed is gonna need some power. So we're installing this Jackery HomePower 3600 Plus and the solar panels that it came with. These solar panels fold out and quickly charge this home backup power station, so you don't need to connect to the grid. The Jackery came with 6 of these 85 watt solar panels that we have hooked up in parallel, and it's currently charging the Jackery at about 300 watts, but we did have an extra older 200 watt solar panel that we also hooked up to it. So right now it's charging at about 410 watts, which is pretty damn good. On the front side of the HomePower 3600 Plus, there's a 30 amp connection, 4 of these 120 volt outlets, and then it has 2 buttons right here so you can activate the outlets or the USB ports. It does have 2 100 watt max USB-C ports and then 2 18 watt max regular USB ports, and of course the power button and a screen where it displays everything that you want to see. The side of the unit has an AC expansion port, DC expansion port, vents to help keep it cool, AC output reset buttons, 2 DC inputs for your solar, and a spot where you can charge on grid. It comes with these high quality wheels so it's easy to roll it around, a retractable handle, and 2 other handles so it's easy to load it into something like a pickup truck. The HP 3600 Plus has a 3600 watt output and a 3584 watt hour lithium battery, which can literally keep a fridge for a family of 3 running for up to 14 days. We're running the lights completely off of this Jackery, and right now they're pulling about 60 watts, and it says that it'll take about 35 hours to completely kill off the battery of the Jackery. Now, assuming that we only use the lights a couple times a week, if not a couple times a month, should take a couple weeks or months to completely kill off the battery of the Jackery, which is perfect for an off-grid setup. And once it does start to get low, we can just go ahead and connect the solar panels to it and charge it up. So if you're doing something like a cabin or any type of off-grid application, this will work great for it. It also comes with an app so you can connect it directly to Bluetooth or Wi-Fi so you can control all the settings directly from your phone. I'm gonna link this Jackery HomePower 3600 Plus in the description below, just in case you guys wanna get one. After we finished installing the fascia cap and knew exactly how we were gonna power this shed, it was officially time to install the siding. I added some of this flashing tape to all the exposed OSB edges, then cut out these cement board siding pieces so I can start trimming out the shed. Once the shed was all trimmed out, I started cutting out my siding pieces and installed them in between all the trim pieces. I popped a few nails into each one, then used these Greco gauges to space them apart evenly. These are really cool because they do all the measuring for you. You can adjust the height, and it's basically just plug and play, and it makes the job much easier. They're not sponsored, but I'll go ahead and link them in the description below just in case you want to get one. We finished up some of the siding, but these boards are made out of cement board and they let off a lot of dust when you cut them. So I picked up a respirator and some of these scientific goggles right here to help protect me because I don't want this shed to kill me. While I finish the siding, I'm gonna let you know exactly how much I spent on all the materials. We spent $444 on siding, $319 on rocks, cinder blocks, and cement, $312 on OSB and 2x4s, $609 on roofing and fascia, and just about $400 on miscellaneous like paint, nails, hinges, caulking, and a bunch of other stuff. That brings the grand total to just over $2,000. After we installed the siding, we added a bunch of caulking to the corners of all the siding.
We realized we don't like that siding. It's too ugly from the road. So we're going to remove all the pickets and add the other type of siding instead.
The siding was installed, so it was finally time to paint. My wife normally does all the painting, and over the years, she's become something like a Bob Ross, but in a female version, and without the afro. We decided to go with this gray color to match the fireplace that we built in a previous video, just to kind of keep the aesthetics looking nice and clean. We finished the siding, finished the paint. Now we're going to install these LED lights and power them with our HomePower Jackery 3600 Plus. After installing the lights, we had this leftover flooring just sitting in our garage, so we figured we're just going to use it. It's definitely overkill for a shed that's just going to hold some tools, but might as well just install it in here than let it sit in my garage for the next 17 years. My wife gave me a Pinterest idea. We cut out these pieces of wood and we're gonna make a shelf for these totes right here. This is a super easy rack to make and only cost me $33 for the 2x4s and $67 for the totes. I'm gonna go ahead and put the building plans in the description below, just in case you guys wanna build one for your garage. After screwing everything together, we went ahead and brought it over to the shed. We installed the racks for the totes and we realized that it takes up way too much space, so we're just gonna take it and put it onto this side of the wall right here and then build some more storage on that side. These shelves are also super simple. It's just some regular 2x4s and some leftover OSB from the roof, but we don't need anything fancy. It's just gonna hold some tools. We next installed a bunch of 2x4s into the wall because my wife gave me another Pinterest idea. I angled all these 2x4s, which end up working perfect to put my caulk in. Oh, and my spray paint bottles and a bunch of my paint cans too. We're now gonna build a door, that way Rose can float on it. We're building two doors because we're fans of the way that French people do it. AKA we're building French doors because we just like the way it looks. We just made some simple measurements, cut some 2x4s down, screwed them all together, then flipped it and screwed some siding boards to the front side of it, cut down some trim pieces, glued them and nailed them onto the front side of it to give it a nice finished look, then repeated the same process all over again until I had two doors. We filled in all the nail holes and cracks with wood putty, then sanded it really well so Picasso can go ahead and do her thing. I mean Bob Ross. After she painted them and we let them dry for a couple hours, we installed some hinges, then brought it over to the shed and got them installed. And because we both have our masters in mathematical engineering, we make our cuts so precise that this happened. The door is too big. Since the door was too big, we had to pull out our table saw and cut off just 1/4 of an inch. But then we brought it back over to the shed, got it installed, and to our surprise, it fit perfectly. We then added some hardware and locks, made sure it worked, and just like that, the entire shed was all finished up. In our next video, we're going to be using all these pavers to build a beautiful paver walkway with built-in LEDs, a flower bed, and a bunch of other things. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.